Good morning, everyone. How's everybody this morning? Happy Thursday. And yeah, do some couple different things today. We are going to get this going here. We're going to do a veggie, one veggie dish that actually makes two dishes, which will be super fun. A vegetable gravy broth and a vegetable sauce. Kind of like making one dish and having it split two different ways at the end. So that'll be really fun. It's another new experiment that I want to do and show you guys. Here we just have the pot with just a little bit of water in it. And we're going to move these guys around a little bit. And we're going to start with our onion, which we often do. Start with an onion in most of the recipes, but not all of them, but most of them. So in this case, yeah, I'm going to do which way to cut the onion. And I am still saving these little onion roots because they do grow, you know. It's always good to grow when you can, and I know it's season. But what I've seen by putting those little roots in the garden is that they why not? It's not going to hurt anything to put them in right now. And if they survive the winter and they come back up next winter, then that's a bonus. So we're just going to get rid of the onion skin here and get that out of the way. And yeah, it doesn't really matter how you cut your onion up in this. Like a lot of times it's just a matter of habit. I'm going to want to score it this way and then score it the other way, and then it comes into nice shapes. But you don't have to do this for this recipe because we're not going to leave them in that form anyway. Just to confuse you. Okay, so I am going to get these guys here going like this. And you know what? It doesn't really matter. It's just showing it. Normally I do it like this, and it makes it really nice for just adding that to, like, if you're doing a stir fry or anytime that you really want and need a minced onion. And yeah, you do want to make sure they don't go on the floor because that's one thing the dogs should not be eating. So we're going to put these guys in here, get them going, and I'm just going to chop this up because it doesn't really matter, and you'll see why in a few minutes. So, hi everybody, Jane, Darlene. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're just going to get these guys on here. So, always a good idea to wash your vegetables first before you put them in the fridge. And you know, I've been doing that for years because if you wash them as soon as you come home from the store and you put them in the fridge, then they're all ready to go. And I put them in bags, and I have the bags open at the top in the crisper drawer so that you can easily you don't even have to take like a bag of broccoli, bag of cauliflower, whatever out, put it on the, you know, on the counter and start getting your portions out. I don't even bother with that. To save time, I just leave the bags open at the top. I have the little cloth veggie bags, and I leave them open at the top, and I open up the crisper door, and I take a knife and I just hack off whatever I want. It's clean, already washed, and it saves so much time. So super important to do that. And so all these guys have been washed. These carrots don't look very, you know, spectacular, but they are organic. And what I do is, well, I have my carrots from the garden, but I'm saving those to eat fresh because the fresh carrots from the garden, you know, oh my gosh, the smell. Like you really tend to forget the smell of a carrot. You know, when you're used to store-bought, even if they're organic, it's like, you know, they're not really that fresh, and it doesn't even smell like a carrot. Tastes good though, it's organic, you know. So when they're organic, I don't peel them, which is why they look a little, you know, not super spectacular. But anyways, yeah, these are organic carrots, so I'm not peeling them. That was my point. And my other point is if you do have carrots from the garden, they are so different, like just so spectacular in how they smell, and really amazing. And I know I look like super awkward here trying to cut these up. It's just because I'm working on this end of the space here in this little space, and so and also it is much harder to cook sitting down, I think. But in order to get everything in the camera, this is what we do. So I get rid of those two little ends there, and I usually do cut two at a time. It's just another thing that I do to save time. And so, but be careful, you know, when you're doing this. The other thing that I should be doing, I keep saying to all of you that I'm going to do it, and I keep not doing it, is using the mandolin, which is a super awesome tool. And I think, you know, when they're bigger like that and little, when they're bigger and little, when they're big and little, you probably don't want to do two at once because it's a little slippery and dangerous. So I will separate them at this point and cut them separate. But anyways, yeah, the mandolin's a really good idea. It is a tool that you need to be very careful with because it's super easy to cut yourself with the mandolin, which is why I tend to see it on camera, you know, because I don't want people just go out and buy one and just, you know, fly at her. Like you have to really always use the finger guard. They come with finger guards, and I bought a new one, and it has a really cool style finger guard, which I'll show you guys on another day because that's not what we for the ingredients so far. So your onions are super anti-inflammatory, and they really help with inflammation. They don't have to be raw in order to do that. They are just anti-inflammatory. They're also antihistamine, and so if you are using them as an antihistamine, as you know, make you cry. So that is that's how the antihistamine works, right? It opens up the sinuses, and I mean, it has chemicals that do that, and there's all kinds of information on that as well. If you put them in the fridge before you slice them, they tend to do less of that, making you cry. I can't remember the name of the chemical right now, but anyway, it does work as an antihistamine, and so you can, if you need to get your sinuses going, and if you wanted to, the yellow onions are the strongest antihistamine. The red and the white, or the red and the sweet ones, are not as, they don't have as much of that antihistamine quality. The other thing that we did work with this summer was that if sting or something like that, you can actually take a raw onion and rub it on the sting, and it, because it has the histamine qualities, antihistamine qualities, it will help to bring the swelling from the sting down. So that's super important to know, because sometimes when you have a bee sting or whatever, it's like, I guess on the bee or the season for bee stings, but is to carry lavender oil, lavender essential oil. And when you use the lavender essential oil, it really, like, it will completely take the pain away as well. Like, lavender essential oil is good for so many things. Good for headaches, it's good to help you sleep, it's good for relaxing. Yeah, it's just fantastic stuff to have around. Anyways, so, and I'm cutting up the celery here, and the celery, for those of you that haven't been watching all the time and heard me say this a couple million times, celery is so important for arthritis. Like, it's just got all of the It's got it's actually a natural source of sodium, like your tears, right? Your tears are salty. So we're not talking salt at all. We're talking a natural source of organic sodium. If they're organic celery. Okay, so what I mean by that is organic, meaning it comes naturally from the plant. I'm not necessarily meaning that it's organically grown. But if it's organically grown, of course it's better. But anyway, the celery has a natural organic source of sodium that the body uses to neutralize the acids, and that is what makes it really help with arthritis. Best thing in the world you can do is juice celery. If you have arthritis or arthritic conditions, sore joints, and that kind of pain, is to juice the celery, or just put it in your smoothie if you're making a smoothie. The other thing you can do is you can use celery seeds and have celery seed tea, and that's really helpful as well. So it's pretty easy to get celery seed, probably, but you want it fresh, right? You want to be careful if you're buying it at the grocery store. You want to make sure that it's a fairly fresh. It hasn't been sitting on the shelf for years and years. So we're before and then reconnected, and here we are. We're back. Did you? Facebook just went off the face of the planet, and so that's a good lesson for me to record on something else other than just Facebook Live. But this is just so much fun to have everybody here and be able to comment and spend time together cooking healthy foods. So you didn't miss anything while I was gone off Facebook. So we're just cooking this up, and it's looking really lovely. So I do a lot of 15-minute healthy meals, and so if the Facebook isn't working, I have a lot of food videos on YouTube, so you can check it out there too, because all of the Facebook videos are on YouTube, on my YouTube channel. So we're just going to bring this down, get these guys where they're getting just a little bit cooked, tenderized, and I always say that because I'm so used to wanting everything tender crisp so that it retains most of the nutrition, because it's not overcooked, firm, and it has all the vitamins and minerals and stuff. But now I'm remembering that in this specific recipe, we really need it like pretty cooked for what we're going to do with it. So anyways, all right, so back to more things to add. I didn't talk about, I talked about the celery, I talked about the onion benefits. I didn't talk about carrots much. Everybody knows what carrots are good for. Beta carotene, obviously. Good for your eyes, obviously. So I'm not going to carry on too much about the carrots. What we're going to add here is a little bit, we've got quite a bit of vegetable there. And so what we're going to do is go with a half teaspoon of rosemary. And I just realized I forgot my other vegetables before we continue with the spices. I am going to put my fresh in here, and if you do that, it usually pops the little casing right off. Except for when they're super fresh like this, then the little skins want to stick. But and I do sometimes I peel these beforehand just so that you don't have to painfully watch me trying to get the garlic skin off here. Okay, so I have that one and that one. I have the pieces of the garlic in there. So much fun. Okay, so we're gonna try and do this garlic again here. That might work better. Okay, it's this time. So yeah, so we've got the garlic to put in here. I'm gonna put a little bit of I should talk about the garlic too. The garlic, obviously, it is like, probably the most important thing that you can have in your kitchen during this time. And antiviral, antifungal. You know, garlic's just super good for you. And if you want to avoid getting a cold or flu, garlic is your best friend. Okay, I want to add this. This is a nice little organic beet with my garlic fingers, but it doesn't matter. We're just working on this recipe. I don't want to add a lot of beet because I don't want it to really taste too beety. So, but I will, I'll cut it up a little bit fine. I also don't want to stain my cutting board, so I'm going to try and be careful and get that in there. Okay, so we're going to bury him to the bottom because I forgot to put him in earlier, or her, the little beady. Or get him in there and add a little bit more water just to cook that down. The other, you can add anything you want to this. Okay, so this recipe, add whatever broccoli. If you want to add broccoli, cauliflower, leeks would be really good. I don't have any, but if you did, that would be good. We're going to add some of the new pack of the shiitake mushrooms. So I won't open that. I'll use the shiitakes from here. And so the shiitake mushrooms are also super good for you, great nutrition, good for the immune system. So the shiitakes really add a great flavor. To not put the centers in. Let me think about this, but we're not making a soup because the centers are very chewy, like super chewy. So, so I don't put them in when I'm making soups or stir fries or whatever because they're like really, really chewy. And then I usually end up putting them in a tea or something like that. In this case, we're actually going to be doing two recipes. So we're going to blend it. So in that case, it wouldn't matter if the stems were in there. But we might even do a third thing with this recipe. I tend to change things on the fly. And when we start off with a recipe, quite often it turns into something completely different, a completely different animal. And that's super fun too. So I'm just going to set these aside to put in tea in case I do go with a third recipe out of this. And we'll just see how we're doing for time as to the third recipe. Anyways, okay, so shiitakes are going in here. These are the dried shiitakes. You can buy them fresh pretty much anywhere, which is super awesome because they're the edible but also medicinal mushrooms because of the antiviral properties and everything. They're like super awesome to add to whatever it is that you're making. Okay, so I think I have all the vegetables in. I don't think I forgot anything. I am going to add some seaweed, and this is kombu seaweed. Seaweed has all of the, super good for the thyroid, balancing the thyroid, and fantastic for radiation, any kind of, if you've had x-rays ever, seaweed is really good for radiation. They used it, they've used it in all of the nuclear disasters, I'll say disasters, to reduce and reverse the radiation of the humans as well as parts of the planet, and this one's really tough, and for the animals as well. So yeah, so seaweed's super good. It's going to add a lot of trace minerals too, because we tend to eat the same vegetables all the time, right? Carrots, celery, potatoes, onions, broccoli, cauliflower, and so we don't get a variety of really trace minerals, the more rare minerals, and so the seaweed really has a lot of the trace minerals that are not just the regular ones that we get repeatedly all the time. I'm going to have a sip of my Vitality tea, which is super mild, healthy, and it's also, I created it for our immune systems, and so it's really good for anybody's immune system to keep you healthy. And it also has ginkgo in it for the brain, good for the brain function. It's got ashwagandha, astragalus, lemon balm, which is antiviral as well. So it has the antivirals in there. And anyway, it's super awesome. You can check it out. Oh, here they are here. The teas. The Vitality Tea, Cold and Flu, and Chakra Tea. Okay, so the only thing we added here for spice so far, when I got ahead of myself, was rosemary. So we're going to add, I'd say half a teaspoon at a time as well. So we did a half a teaspoon of rosemary. We'll do a half teaspoon at a time. I don't want to add ginger. I'm looking at all the things I have here, right? I don't want to add ginger because I don't want it overly ginger flavored. This is going to be used for many different recipes. So I think we're just going to go with adding the miso now. Miso is a naturally aged fermented product that is super good for to help with your probiotics. It's fermented, and so ideally you would use this and not heat it because obviously you'll kill the anything natural enzymes and fermentation and stuff. But what I want to use it for is flavoring in this instance. So I'm going to use it for flavoring, and then you can also add to it as you warm anything up, so that you're just bringing it up to a room temperature or above, but not enough to kill everything. This is really awesome stuff though, and you would just, normally when you're using it, most people are familiar with miso soup, but you can just add it right before you serve anything, when it's I don't know, ideally under 150 degrees. So we're going to put the miso in there for the flavoring. I'm just going to set this here carefully. Okay, so we're getting these beets to where they're getting softer too, and cooking this down. So what we're going to do is two different things with this recipe. I am going to add a little bit, because I didn't add a huge amount of miso. No, I'm not. I try to, okay, I'm always doing two recipes at once, and it's so much fun because okay, yeah, no. Oh, here's something else I forgot. Is sage. This is beautiful, beautiful Okanagan sage that came from a good friend of mine from the Okanagan. It's beautiful, fresh, hand-picked, fantastic energy. And so we'll add that little bit of sage, and I am going to add bay leaves, which are also a huge gift from people here in town, who I'm just so grateful to be able to receive such gifts because I don't have a bay tree. And the bay leaves are fantastic for antiviral, oh my gosh, really good for the immune system, good for the respiratory system. If you smell a real fresh bay leaf, it will almost smell like eucalyptus. It will be so good for the respiratory system. You can drink it in a tea, you can have it in a tincture. It's anti-inflammatory, and it's good for pain as well. So I am making bay leaf tinctures for clients, and also bay leaf salve for pain and inflammation and that kind of thing, aches and pains. Good for the skin too, so you could use the bay leaf salve for any kind of skin conditions, if you have eczema or psoriasis or, whatever skin issues. And it's great as just a moisturizer as well, right? So just makes your skin smell and feel amazing. Okay, so here's the two different things. We've got this kind of sort of cooked down. I don't know if the carrots are quite where I want them as far as being cooked down. But we're going to give this another minute. So we're going to do two different things with this. We're going to make a gravy, and we're going to make a a sauce that you could use over pasta, over rice, anything. It's like a base sauce. So what we're going to do is we're going to take half of this and we're going to take this into my beautiful Vitamix, which is so old and ancient. This thing is 15 years old. So let's put some water in here first, so it's not too hot, although the Vitamixes can really handle a lot of hot water. Yeah, that's probably enough. You just want enough for the blaze to be able to spin. Now I'm going to attempt to get this in here without getting a bay leaf in here, because I don't really want to grind up the bay leaf into my sauce, which would be like a pasta sauce, oh my gosh, there's a name. All that's coming into my head is like a pasta primavera, and that's not what I want. That's not, what's the name of that? Vegetable sauce. Like, what's it called, you guys? Okay, so probably that's enough. I'd go like that. Okay, so if you're going to do this like big time, you're going to make more. But I just want a little sauce, and then we're going to make gravy out of this. So I think that might be enough water, and then we need more water here. Actually, lots of water in there. Okay, so 2 things at once, guys. Here we go. All right, so yep. Okay, so this is the this is going to be like our veggie sauce. So at this point, another dish here. I should make it so that you guys can really see what I'm doing. Ideally, I would put this in a huge measuring cup, but I want you to be able to see through what's going on here. So this is your veggie sauce. So this has obviously all of those vegetables in it. And then you're going to season it up for whatever you want. And you can thicken it to whatever you want to. So for this, what we're going to do is I want it to be a little bit, hey MJ, hi, good morning everybody. I think I already said hi to Jane and Darlene and everyone, but Facebook kind of cut off twice now, so I have no idea who came back. Anyway, good morning everyone. So we have these vegetables in here. Now this is going to be like, I'm going to save this to put either on pasta, you could put on rice, you could do all kinds of things with it. But I want it to be a little bit cheesy, so I'm going to add nutritional yeast, which is so good for you. It's a great source of vitamins, minerals. It's got B3, it's got potassium. It's usually fortified with B12. What size spoon do I want here? So it's really, really good. It's a great something that you should be taking every day or using every day. Oh my gosh, my glasses keep falling off. So we're gonna do this for the cheesy flavor for this sauce, and because yeah, I'm just feeling into this because it's fairly warm still. I'm going to make a little bit of a roux with tapioca starch. So I do like to use the tapioca rather than cornstarch. I don't like to use cornstarch because I think personally that we have way too much corn in our lives. And so, you know, it's just like there's corn products in everything. And I do enjoy, you know, my tortilla chips and my popcorn and all that kind of stuff. Oh, marinara. Yeah, I think, you know, like I say, I'm not a professional cook, but I thought marinara was like more of a tomato sauce. But I'm not sure. I'm so not a professional cook. I'm just a certified herbalist and a natural health consultant. And so I'm just sharing with you recipes that I make. So don't ask me technical questions that a professional cook would ask, but that it could be. I think marinara might be tomatoey. Anyway, so I'm just going to add this to it to thicken this up a little bit. Okay, and as you know, when you're adding a tapioca or a cornstarch, you always mix it with cold water first to get it mixed, and then you add it to the heat. And because this isn't really that hot, it probably won't thicken enough right here, right now. You know, if I had a good plan, I would have this on another burner and then thicken this right up. Okay, so you can season this with whatever you want. This is going to be like your sauce, and the only reason it's red is because it has the beet in it, and so what you want to add is you can add things like your cayenne to it. You could get this spicy and hot. You can add more garlic. You can add garlic powder to it. Salt and pepper. We've already added we've added rosemary and thyme. I'm just looking for the extra, which it seems to have disappeared. Oh, there it is. Garlic powder to make it a little bit more garlicky. And so, yeah, so you can turn this into whatever you want as a sauce to put over your pasta. If you want it cheesier, you can add things like, in my case, because I really don't want to do dairy, I would add the Earth Island Parmesan, or you could even add a Daya or a Chow. You know, it's a plant-based cheese, or you can add more of the nutritional yeast. So whatever you want to add to this to make it, yeah, you could add coconut oil, you could add all kinds of things to it. So kind of, yeah, maybe a marinara, primavera, something like that. Anyway, here's your sauce for your super healthy, completely made of vegetables to put on your pasta. So that's that. Now what we're going to go back to, actually I'll leave this here so you guys can see it. We're going to go back to this, which is really cooking down, which is kind of what we want to do, because what we're after here is we are after gravy. So we're going to add quite a bit of water to this, get that cooking, and then we're going to make another roux with the cornstarch with another new spoon. We go through lots of spoons around here, and that's probably enough, I would say. So we can do the third thing. I wasn't sure if we were going to do the third thing because of because of how things are going with the Facebook going on and off, and also for time. But I think we can do the third thing. So the third thing that we're doing with one dish here, okay, we're going to stir this up. Okay, so this is our just tapioca starch and water, cold water. And so the third thing we're going to do, we made one pasta sauce. So you can stick this in the fridge, you can stick it in the freezer, you can use it whenever you want, pour it over, you know, pasta or rice or whatever you want to do. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to make a gravy out of this beautiful broth that is so full of the shiitake mushrooms, the garlic, the onions, rosemary, thyme, all kinds of good stuff in there, bay leaves and all that good stuff. So we're going to just get this going, and we're going to remove all the vegetables and we're going to put them aside. And so we have our third thing, which is like a stir fry, or you can put it in soup, whatever. It's a bunch of vegetables. You can do whatever you want with them. We're going to leave them whole. So we blended half. So this is the 3-part. I know I just make things so complicated for everybody. I'm just wondering what I need for all those vegetables to fit into, and let's go for this. We're gonna go for this. Actually, you know what? Let's go for this. It'll be prettier. Okay, decisions. It's so much fun to do that, and I just spilt all the sage in there, but that's okay. We don't mind a little sage in here. So we're going to. We should go get a slotted spoon. Okay, let me do that. I hate to run away from the camera in front of you guys, but I will try and do that. Okay, so this will be more helpful. Okay, we're going to grab these guys out. Much easier than using the wooden spoon. Okay, so this can be, you know, make sure you take the bay leaves out, you know, before you serve it. But these vegetables can be used for soup, for a stir fry. If you wanted to, you know, really change it up, you could add like a teriyaki sauce to these veggies. You could add a sesame ginger sauce, would be really good. There's all kinds of options here. Obviously, you could just do soup if you want to as well. So this is your cooking one. Can you hear the background music? The background music here. Oh my goodness, I just inhaled wrong. Excuse me. Background music is MJ with Sacred Fire. Okay, so here we are with the with a lot of steam coming very close to me. Okay, did we get everything? Okay, so if you want to get really crazy about making sure everything's out of your gravy, then you can just keep sifting and making sure that everything is out of there. I don't care if my gravy is a little lumpy for the purpose that I'm using it. This is absolutely fine. So I have this on a fairly high heat. I am going to, because it's concentrated from all those vegetables, I'm going to add more water to it, and it will, I mean, you can smell it already with the beautiful garlic and everything. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to add the cornstarch to it. And get another spoon, another clean spoon. Get this going. So this is just going to be our gravy. So this is completely vegetables with rosemary and thyme. If you want to, what we'll do at this point, which I did mention earlier, but we didn't do it, was add some of the teriyaki. Now, when you add that, whether you're adding cornstarch or flour or tapioca, once you add it to the heat, you do need to keep stirring. And actually, ideally, I should have a whisk here to, make sure that I don't get any lumps. But I didn't think of that. Okay, so get that gravy going here. I should actually be using a fork maybe, since I didn't use a whisk. But what I'm wanting to do right now, while I'm boring you with the stirring, is adding the, this is a tamari, so it's more of a naturally fermented, it's less salty than a regular soy sauce. And so my feeble attempt at making gravy that isn't lumpy. Okay, let's try this. That might be better. And the thing, one of the things I didn't think about either with this, but it doesn't matter to me, it might matter to you guys, is that it's not very brown. And so, let me think about this. You know what we could do? I wonder if we added turmeric. That would turn it maybe golden. That would be good. Turmeric would be good because the turmeric has all of the anti-inflammatory properties, the curcumin, and super good for you, so that would turn it kind of golden. Although the pink is pretty. Okay, here we go. There we go. Okay, so you just want to keep stirring that as it gets hot. Come on, you guys, thicken up. Sometimes it takes a little while, everybody in the whole wide world knows how to make a roux, so I'm sure that I'm not showing you anything any different that you don't already know, other than this is just strictly vegetables, and this is your 3 meals in one cooking. 3 meals in one cooking. So you've only cooked one dish and gotten 3 different things out of it. That's the turmeric that we were talking about, anti-inflammatory properties, super good for the pain and inflammation. Oh my gosh, it's just so well known. Everybody knows what turmeric does. Okay, so that turned it more of a, it's going to be a rainbow gravy. That turned it more of a orange color. And when you use turmeric, you always want to add black pepper, which I did neglect to add. And because the black pepper activates the turmeric so that it will bring out more of the anti-inflammatory properties. Okay, so with my little burner here, I have it on high, but it's being really slow to heat this up to thicken my gravy. But anyway, it is starting to look a little bit more like a gravy. Yeah, a little bit, little beige. Oh my gosh. Okay, I can't think of anything more brown to add to it. Maybe a little bit more teriyaki. But before I do that, I should really get another clean spoon and taste it and just see if we need more teriyaki. The other thing you can add to this, we can add more teriyaki. The other thing you can add to this that would be really good as well is the nutritional yeast too. If you don't add a lot, then it doesn't taste too cheesy, and it really does act as a nice flavor and thickener if you add a little bit. So you know, it's kind of looking like gravy now. This will add a little bit more yellow to it, and that'll help with the flavor and the thickening. Okay, there we go. Oh my gosh, okay. So that's what's so fun about this Facebook Live is that a lot of people have commented and said that they like watching what I do because it makes them so that they aren't afraid to try things. Because, you know, it's just, there is no perfection. In my life, there's no perfection expected or performed. And so, you know, you just cook stuff and change things around. And, you know, if it doesn't turn out perfect, it's okay. If the recipe doesn't turn out, you can usually turn it into soup, or, you know, you can usually always change it up to where it turns into a different addition to another meal. Otherwise, you can do what I do when it really doesn't turn out, which is give it to your son, because he'll eat anything. Oh my gosh, but it's healthy ingredients, so there is no going wrong. Okay, so I will set these to where they look very nice away from all my many utensils here that I've gone through. So here, to recap for the new people that just came on, make sure I don't get too lumpy here. Okay, to recap for the people, so we took basically a stir-fried bunch of vegetables, and you can see the juice coming off from here. I can add that to the gravy as well. Yeah, so basically it's whatever you have in your fridge. Carrots, onions, celery, and we added seaweed, we added a little bit of beets, bay leaves, seasonings. You have to watch the video for everything. But we took this one dish and we made a pasta sauce with it and also a gravy with it. So we have 3 things here to use from just cooking once. And that's it. I have gone way over time. Thanks you guys for hanging out watching. And we'll see you tomorrow at 11. Hopefully Facebook won't keep kicking us off. And we'll get a good solid video tomorrow. In the meantime, give this a try. Cook one thing. Get 3 out of it. And we'll see you tomorrow. Check out my Instagram and my YouTube channel and subscribe. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 11.